over here I actually have two bags. I bought some new bags for some cards. What I'm going to do, over here I have a bag, well, basically two bags overlapping each other. They essentially hold index cards. Is that what it's called? This is what it holds. I just have them overlapping each other just to keep the cards inside, because they are literally the end of the card stack is right here, and that is the end of one bag, so I had to overlap them. Now, I don't know if I'm going to use every single card in here, but I am really excited to do it and use it, because I want to make the cards. I want to draw my some sigils, any sigils that I make that I will use consistently, constantly, and throughout my magical journey. I want to draw them on the cards and be able to have these on hand whenever I'm doing some spell work or anything like that. I don't know. It just seemed fun to do that. I don't know. It just seemed a little fun to do that, just to have cards with my sigils on them that I can pull from, draw upon, if that makes sense. So I'm really looking forward and really excited to actually do that and be able to use these cards as for sigils. I also got this book. This book is a sketchbook, and I was surprised it was pretty cheap for what it was, where I got it, but I'm really excited to use this. What I'm going to use this for is basically recording and documenting my sigils as well. So not only the cards are kind of more of a fun thing. This is more of like, kind of like how I have a book of ideals and a book of, I don't know what to call it. I really do not like using this phrase, but in this community they call it a book of shadows. I don't really like that. I'm not comfortable with that too much. We'll figure it out and we'll work with that, but I have my book of shadows that holds very kind of, or at least right now it holds basic to-dos, like how to do things and instructions and things that are important to me in regards to my magical workings. And so what this will do is kind of the same thing, but this one is dedicated to sigils and sigil work, but mainly to like actually draw the finished product, whereas this one was actually originally a sketchbook that I used once upon a time. I don't have it filled in too much with my stuff, but I have made sigils in here, and I've even, like, a few nights ago, I went through and kind of simplified them, and so I'm really looking forward to bringing these, putting my sigils and drawing the more concrete pattern in here, in my sigil book, and then being able to draw them on these cards. And that will, that's just going to be so much fun, and I'm really excited and looking forward to whatever I have to look forward to when I use that. And then I'm actually currently working on writing down the Sabbats and the major holidays or celebrations for magical individuals. And so I think I only have one holiday written down. I forgot what it's called off the top of my head. It's the first one. Yeah, it's the first one. I don't remember what it's called, but that's the one I have written down so far. This is my first book of records, but over time, when I decide to make a new one, I'll be able to take the information from here and condense it and simplify it more so it's easier to look at, easier to find. I'm really, really happy and proud with the way that I am experimenting and trying things out. This book, it's just really cheap and very, like, I don't need anything special for this right now, but what I'm using it for is literally keeping a record of what kind of spells I perform and how I do it. Any instructions, correspondences, just information. Not necessarily as a it's not the same as my book, as this book, but it is very, I don't know, it's just really nice. Like, this one will have the recipe or the instructions for some of the things, and it's very, very formal, and this is what I want to use a lot. But if I really need quick to know how I did something in the past, because, you know, things get adjusted through time, and according to the needs of the practitioner, I will use this to record how I did the things that are written in here. So any spell work, concrete spell work, writings and instructions will be in here, and then in here is how I did it, and if there were any adjustments I did for the time that I performed the spell, that's what's written in here. With this binder, I also got a couple days ago. I went on a big shopping spree, but this binder, it's supposed to be very, very, very fun and casual. Maybe not necessarily fun, but very casual, but very still like something that I want. What it has in it and what I'm going to have in it are things that are like super important, the basics, the needs that I have, and the things that I need to have on hand for each spell, and what their correspondences are, and whatnot. Which, coming down here, I guess, I have my bottles. I actually need to put this one away. These are, I guess, my ingredients right here. I got honey at the very beginning and start of my magical journey, but I haven't really used it since that week. So I'm gonna have to figure out how I can utilize honey. And the thing is, with some of these ingredients, most if not all, I can't just simply now go, okay, well, I'm not using it magically, so I'm gonna start using it in the mundane way. No, I can't do that. I've dedicated the honey to be for magical purposes, and I'd hate to break that habit or break that, for lack of a better word, contract. I'd hate to break that purpose just because I bought something and I don't use it for its purpose that I corresponded it with or gave it. So I'll have to figure out, as I grow my knowledge and magical journey, I'll have to figure out how I can use this. Obviously, I'll try to make sure I use it before it's expired, but I just can't figure out what to use it for. I got olive oil because I was super excited when I did my second spell bottle. I did it for joy and for peace and to be consoled, I guess. And it was very intuitive because I didn't know what I was doing it for, but eventually I like, as I was doing it, I realized, especially upon research on some of the correspondences of the ingredients I used, it was definitely intuitive and something that I really needed. I didn't use oil at all or any kind of like major solution for the bottle. for the whole spell, but at the end, and I have it written in that book, I think. I have it written there. I have it written down somewhere, but I wanted to use oil, and so I got some oil, and I'm really, really excited and looking forward to being able to use it in my spell bottles. I am so excited. I just gotta wait and figure out what kind of spells I want to perform and use them for whatever my needs are, and just to kind of help boost the quality of my life, if that makes sense. I kind of wish I had more bigger bottles. I have more bottles in here as well with some essential oils. We'll get into that a little bit later. Since we're out here with the herbs and the spices that I have, these are not for cooking. I use them specifically for my spell work. Cinnamon sticks, I got this very impulsively because of a video that I saw of another witch who they talked about doing money spells and whatever, and they warned us saying, don't just get this because some YouTuber on here speaking of herself tells you to. Get it because that's what works for you. So I gave it a try, and I was not very happy with the results, at least with sticks. I don't like using cinnamon sticks, but in my head, I sense and I feel a pull and a draw to using actually powdered, ground up cinnamon. So I'm going to, eventually, I'll get my hands on some ground cinnamon, and I cannot wait to use that because it's great for speed, energy, and protection. But my reason for using it right now, anyway, if I were able to use it, would be for speed, to make sure the spell works and that it gets done quick, especially in regards to wealth, finances, and money. So I'm really, really, really looking forward and excited to get my hands on some crushed powdered cinnamon. I got some bay leaves, which I never really understood too much what bay leaves were for. Every single practitioner that I watch, they constantly use bay leaves, and bay leaves are very prominent in so many spells, so many instructions on spells. I don't know, it's crazy. But after doing the research on what the correspondences were, I discovered they're great for protection, for banishing. They're all around just really good to have. Those are just two that I can think of off the top of my head. But I'm excited to be able to use these more. Something that I really, really, really want is, if I can, especially legally, I would love to have my own bay leaf. My own bay bush. I believe it's a bush. Wherever the leaves come from, I want my own plant of that so that I can just get my own bay leaves, because these bottles or containers or whatever you want to call them, I'm so nervous to use these because I don't want to run out. These will run out pretty quickly if I just keep using them. But I am really excited to use them for their appropriate correspondences. They're going to be so beneficial in the future. I have basil. I kind of forgot exactly what it's for, what its correspondence is, but I really, really do like it. Something that's coming to my mind, if I remember correctly, basil's great for kind of warmth, for love. I think money. I can't really remember, but I can't wait. I can't wait to use this. Essentially, as soon as I realized what some of the correspondences were and doing the research on what the correspondences were for some of these ingredients, it opened everything up. Like, I have a reason to use them now. I know what to use them for, and I'm so excited. It makes me more excited, and I want to do spells for them. Of course, I don't want to just do spells for the sake of doing a spell, and that's not what you should do. You do a spell because it's a need. It's based and tailored to the needs of the practitioner, and I can't stress that enough. I don't know, I wrote it in my journal all about it, but there's just so many things that, no, it's not a things I wish I knew before I started practicing magic. No, that's not what I'm going to be what I would ever talk about. For me, it's what I wish other skilled practitioners shared with me and told me, and it helps me realize. Moving on, ground oregano. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what that one's good for. Maybe you can let me know in the comments, I guess. And obviously, if you have any more correspondences you want to share about any of these ingredients, if you are a practitioner as well, magic practitioner as well, you are welcome to let me know in the comments what, if any of these ingredients are things that you'd use, and maybe some of the spells that you could use it for. And I don't know, I would love to hear from you guys if you have any knowledge, tips, or anything, let me know in the comments. Nutmeg. I actually forgot why I got this. It kind of seemed like a powerful spice to have in my arsenal, as a solid thing to have on hand at all times. So as soon as I figure out what the correspondence for this is, I'm gonna do that. Mint. Mint is definitely corresponded with money, and that's about all I can remember. Ginger. Ginger. I cannot express how excited I am about ginger. I hate the taste of ginger. I hate ginger. But I'm excited to use this because it is corresponded with power, energy, kind of like the cinnamon. It's good for speed a little bit. Maybe not speed, but definitely power. Give that oomph to your spell, to your magical workings. It's also amazing for warmth, for love. I was actually shocked when I heard that ginger's good for love. But it's also, it's good for security and safety, or a feeling of security and safety. So I'm really, really looking forward to being able to use this one. I cannot wait. All right, just opening this, I guess. It has all of what I've looked up and being able to find. These are must-have magical herbs. So these are all the herbs that and spices that I just went over. So yeah, bay leaf is good for banishing, protection, healing, binding, inspiration. So for bay leaf, I was surprised. Healing. It actually kind of makes sense. Now that every time I look at the leaf, it makes sense that it's good for healing. Protection, I was really surprised about. I just thought that this was a leaf that was very basic, just a ground level kind of herb or plant. Binding, that kind of makes sense now that I know. It kind of just makes sense to me. Inspiration, I think I had an intuitive experience with the bay leaf in regards to inspiration. I just didn't understand it, but that definitely rang true to me. Banishing, I'm super excited to be able to use this. That's a very powerful word, strong word, banishing. So I can't wait to use bay leaves for banishing and protection and binding and healing, all of that. I cannot wait. Cinnamon, yeah, speed, I've heard that before. I'm really excited to use cinnamon for that. Protection, it kind of makes sense that it's great for protection. For power, I mean, I see all three of those as power words and correspondences. Concentration, like thinking about it, that kind of makes sense, but at the same time, like I didn't know that, but I can't wait to like do a concentration spell or a focus spell on or like a spell bottle for focus or concentration. I cannot wait to use cinnamon for that purpose. For luck, that kind of makes sense, and for passion, it is a very strong spice, although that kind of seems like a weak correspondence with cinnamon, but power makes sense, but for passion, I'm not really sure. I'd probably go with like oregano or with ginger as a passion, not cinnamon, so I'll maybe have to experiment and play with that. Basil, so excited to use basil for calming. Oh, basil. Basil, growing up, I've always had experiences with basil for especially reflecting upon it. I felt calm. It felt very, I felt loved in a way. I felt calm. I did not know basil was a banishing herb. That strikes me, because banishing is also with the bay leaf. That's incredible. Prosperity. Now, when I first used basil, the very first time, my very first spell bottle, it had nothing specifically to do with money. It had more to do with protection, but I thought, you would be great for money, possibly. I felt that. And then I did my money bowl, or money plate, or whatever you want to call it. I felt the need to use basil and sprinkle it around on my plate, on my money plate, because I guess it's intuitively I felt and was inspired knowing and believing that prosperity and abundance would be basil would be a great ingredient for that. Luck as well. So luck, abundance, and prosperity, fantastic for money. Those are some great words to bring about exactly what they represent and what they mean. Mint, I didn't realize some of these things. Renewal, that one really struck me as like, what? Renewal, interesting. Every time I ever saw mint color in like chocolates or ice creams, there's that weird green color where it's not like a dark green or whatever, but it's like a weird kind of a cool green or whatever. There was a hint of renewal that I could sense from that color in the correspondence of mint. So that really strikes me. I can't wait to use mint and see how I can use that for a renewal spell or renewal type of correspondences. Obviously, there's money. Mint somehow is very much corresponded heavily with money. Prosperity and purifying. That makes sense. The color, I hate the color of what we represent for mint, but that color did kind of correspond to me as a purifying kind of look or color. So I don't know, all of these, healing, I never realized it was great for healing. But renewal, purifying, and prosperity, I cannot wait to use that, to use mint for these correspondences. And it's really cool that I could combine mint for prosperity with basil for prosperity and abundance. That's going to be a really cool thing to do. And then I can add either cinnamon or some ginger for power. Really quick, back up to basil here. Banishing. I can't wait to use banishing in regards to money, because I got some debt, and I think banishing, you know, I think that's a really good word to use in order to heal and bring up my financial situation, if that makes sense. I'm just so excited. After I saw a lot of these correspondences, I was blown away, and I came up with so many ideas of how I could use it. Use some of these ingredients that I have on hand. These are some very powerful ingredients and very, 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 very important ingredients to me. I cannot wait to use them. Yeah, and then I can mix the basil with the bay leaf as well for banishing. Banishment, banishing, they're basically the same word, but then I can use the bay leaf for healing. Oh, I guess mint as well for healing, because it'll heal my finances. It'll heal my wallet, it'll heal my bank account, and it'll bring it all back up the way that I want it to be. Ginger, yeah. So there it is, stability, or I guess I called it security earlier, but stability, clarity. I thought that was a very interesting word, not a word that I would have used or that I would have thought about, but it's there. And there's money again. There's a lot of money and prosperity and abundance in basically all of these ingredients. Have some form of correspondence with financial situations, which is really cool. And I can't wait to use these, although I want to make sure that I use each one separately for each thing, instead of using mint for money, ginger for money, and well, all these other ones for money because of abundance and prosperity. I want to make sure I balance it out and go like, okay, well, I'm using ginger for money, or no, I can say I'm using mint for money in the spell, and I'm using cinnamon for speed and energy, as well as protection. But then I can use the bay leaf for banishment, binding, and protection as well. So right there, I just kind of created my own spell. Didn't say what I would use it for specifically, but that is basically how a spell is made and how a spell is done. But yeah, I can't wait. Ginger, I never realized grounding, but it kind of makes sense. I do feel a sense of grounding whenever I see a ginger plant or even the powder. But clarity, I can't. This one just struck me, and I can't believe clarity is ginger, or ginger is clarity. But you know what? After having, I've had a sliver of ginger before, and I've smelt ginger before, the plant, not the powder, and yeah, it makes sense. It just makes sense. And then the passion as well. So yeah, I don't know. Grounding. Oh, and balance. Yep. Balance, grounding. Balance and grounding, that kind of makes sense together. I don't know. And then peppermint, I'm struggling with this one. I even looked it up online, and there's really nothing that seemed legit enough. They were very weak correspondences that I just didn't speak to me. But I'd love to know if you guys know any correspondences that are fantastic for peppermint, because I do have peppermint. It's in a different drawer, but I do have peppermint, but I don't know what its correspondence is exactly. So I might have to make my own and figure it out and experiment and play with, and even maybe ask peppermint, what are your correspondences? What do you want to be corresponded with, especially working with me. So I guess we'll figure this out as my magical journey progresses. Now, oregano. Let me change my position. So oregano has some really fantastic correspondences as well. All of these ingredients are fantastic. Again, we got some healing, and that kind of makes sense. Oregano has great healing properties. It's protective. That really makes sense. It's binding, so just like bay leaf. I feel like bay leaf is a very structured kind of a binding, but oregano has a much more powerful sense of binding. I'm so sorry that I'm like telling you things, but I'm showing you the wrong thing. I'm not really paying attention to what's on the screen of the camera. Modesty, that was really interesting. I'm gonna have to figure out what kind of spells or what kind of things I would use oregano for in regards to modesty. So I'll just have to figure that out and think about it, and I don't know. We'll see. Strength, that's quite interesting. Bliss and comfort. Comfort, now that made sense to me. Every time I ever used oregano essential oil on, like my mom would, growing up, she would massage our feet sometimes, and we could pick out intuitively any of the oils that she had on hand, because she had a ton. Oregano, sometimes I would pick, and I felt comfort, I felt calm whenever I picked that to use for my feet massaging. Clarity, again, with clarity, same as ginger down here, has clarity. That's super interesting. So I could, oregano and ginger powder, I could combine those to have maybe a stronger sense of clarity, like a powerful clarity, and whatever. Reconciliation, that kind of makes sense. I don't know, this even just thinking about or even talking about this specific spice, oregano, I don't know. I feel a sense of ability, I guess, with a lot of things. Friendships, I cannot wait to see what I can do with friendships for oregano, or oregano for friendships. And letting go, that makes so much sense. I had a lot to let go during my childhood, and so anytime I use that I don't know, that just really makes so much sense. Relaxation, well, we always did it. Relaxing. And travel, I don't know, if you put that at the bottom of your feet, that seems like a really good thing to do. Like if you have the oregano oil, put that on the bottom of your feet as you walk or as you travel, whether that's car, plane, train, boat, whatever you use, modes of transportation. That could help for protection and for travel. You got that right there in both of those, in those correspondences. Travel and protection. So as you travel, you're protected. Maybe you get inspiration on where you're going, or you find an opportunity or something as you travel, or I don't know. But I cannot wait to use oregano. Oregano has some great, fantastic correspondences. In this box, like I said, I have my bottles for spell bottles and things like that. I cannot wait to use these more, especially now that I have my olive oil. I can use spell bottles a little bit more. I cannot wait to do this. But I have all my oils and whatever. These are things that I've collected over time so far in the last, like ever since I started doing becoming a magical practitioner. I cannot wait to use it. And here's the peppermint. This is the peppermint that I have, that I talked about earlier. I have lavender. I use and abuse this one. Lavender is absolutely fantastic and has some great correspondences that I'm really excited to share with you. Bergamot as well has, it doesn't have very many correspondences that I could find, but it's great for finances and money. But then if I combine that with tangerine or grapefruit, it's great for like joy, bliss, happiness, peace. And then using cedarwood as a great foundation or base for grounding purposes. I'm so excited to be able to use all of these in different ways, including the ingredients as well. I cannot wait to figure out what I can use them for. I'm just getting chills talking about them. But with that too, I same with the spices, I did with the oils as well. I wrote down what I have, and some of these are like the most basic and important ingredients and oils that I use. I'll diffuse them. They're in that black dome thing next to the candle. I cannot wait to continue to use them. And then even also, if I need to, I can grow my arsenal of oils. I can't wait. So excited. But lavender, peace. I never really corresponded lavender with joy, but there it is. It's corresponded with joy. Spirituality, it's not a word that crossed my mind ever, but it definitely makes sense that it's spiritual. Sleep, that's something that most everyone knows, and obviously with sleep you're going to have some peace. You got to have peace in order to sleep. Be peaceful enough in order to sleep. Then you have beauty. Again, it's not something that crossed my mind ever, but it 100% makes sense. And anytime I use it now, when I diffuse it, I definitely love using beauty as a great thing for the oil to act as a beauty agent in some way whenever I diffuse it in a room. And dreaming, I mean, that makes sense with sleeping and spirituality, so that's really interesting. Bergamot, I guess there are more than I thought there was. It's really about money. Oh, actually, oh, wow. I'm remembering now, just looking at these. Commanding and compelling. Financial speed and abundance. So financial speed would be great. Bergamot would be great to combine with cinnamon because of the speed aspect. And abundance. Money, financial speed, and abundance. Employment. Money. But you could also do employment with commanding and compelling because that could give you the raise you need, give you the better respect from your coworkers or your boss in order to give you that raise. You could also use commanding and compelling outside of employment or outside of money corresponding. I can't wait to play with this and see what happens if I put a little bit of bergamot on my skin and wear that as I go out into the world. And see what happens as a result of using bergamot for commanding and compelling. I can't wait to see what bergamot has in store for me as I use it more. Grapefruit is great for joy, which is something that makes sense. I don't know, it just makes sense. Joy. But then, upliftment, that makes sense. Attunement, that's kind of interesting. I actually don't really know what that word means, but I can't wait to see if something comes up because of it. But generosity and harmony, those are some really great ones. Or cooperation, that was pretty interesting. My battery's about to die. But cedarwood, I use it mostly for grounding, but it's great for clarity, which is great to combine with ginger, and healing and protection. All of these are pretty great correspondences. Well, this video has gone on probably a lot longer than I intended, and I guess we're doing this all in one take, basically. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know what you think, and if you have any more correspondences for some of these ingredients, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, night, afternoon, morning, whatever it is for you. I'll see you next time. Bye!